Hi, my name is Amy Mazzi, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the evolution of a wake boat. Oh wait, that's what we typically talk about. But what we're going to talk about today is how this started, and really the evolution of a surf boat brand. What is Centurion? Why are we a surf boat brand? Well, it all started in 1995 when Rick Lee and a collection of designers for Centurion Boats stumbled upon a deep V boat called the Wave.
Well, we discovered it. It had already been going on, and people have wake surf behind boats for long before we came along, but it never got any notoriety or any attention. We had just completed a tooling project on our Wave boat, which was a wakeboard boat. It was the first wakeboard specific boat, built-in ballast tanks, extended pylon, and it was only built to be a wave building machine for wakeboarders. So we went through the whole R&D evolution for several months, going back and forth to Lake Yosemite. And while we were, one of the members of our R&D department was Tim Lopes, who was a surfer from Hawaii. And the whole time we went out to the lake, he would beg us to surf behind it. He'd say, "I can surf behind this boat." We said, sure, go away. We'll let you know when it's time to surf or whatever. We're building a wakeboard boat. So we got it all refined and it was perfect. And it was the last day of testing. Finally, we relented and said, "Okay, Tim, go ahead, get back there. You can surf behind it." So he jumps in the water and there's about 4 guys in the boat. And we're talking about how we're going to market this wakeboard boat. And we pull him up, we take him too fast. He finally gets us down to 11 miles an hour. And we go back to our conversation about wakeboarding. And all of a sudden, a rope handle flies into the boat and lands on our feet. The 4 of us kind of look down at the rope handle and we look back at Tim, and he's back there cutting back and having a great time on this beautiful wave behind the boat at this slower speed. And so we all stopped talking and just sort of watched him for the rest of the way across Lake Yosemite. We stopped at the other side and turned around. One of the guys in the boat, we all looked at each other, were puzzled, didn't quite know what it was we just saw. And one of the guys says, "Hey, Tim, do that again." So he did the same thing, goes up, has a ball behind the boat. We surf him back to the trailer. By the time we got on the trailer, everybody in the truck was babbling about what we had just seen and how it was quiet and it was slow speed. You're not going to have injuries like on a wakeboard when you jump off an apartment building and crash into the water from a jump. There's no speed involved. And everybody could hear the stereo and everybody could talk, and it's a real social phenomenon to be back there, that we all sensed a complete epiphany. And by the time we got back to the factory, we had gotten so excited that we said, "We got to show the surf industry this thing." And Tim said, "Well, I know the owner of Rusty Surfboards." And I said, "You call him and tell him we'll be at Mission Bay tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, and for him to bring 3 of his best surfers to see what we're doing here." He got behind the boat, their surfers got behind the boat, they all had a ball, and later in the session they discovered that the wave never ends and that they all ride a 15-second surf wave and then they all get to rest. They were totally exhausted after about 20 or 30 seconds behind the boat, and they didn't really understand. They were all trying to impress the owner of Rusty Surfboards, and they didn't understand what was going on. And that was an epiphany as well, because the wave never ends. So at that point, we converted all of our marketing energy from wakeboarding and 3-event water skiing into this space that nobody saw coming. And our next move was to build an ad that I described to you about Salina, Kansas, and Bonsai Pipeline is 3,000 miles this way, and Cocoa Beach, Florida is 4,000 miles that way. Welcome to Salina, Kansas, and the picture of a wake surf boat behind a woody with a surfboard on top, which depicted the fact that you could be in the middle of Kansas and you could surf. So then moved on and developed the Enzo, which was a purpose-built boat, just like the Wave was a purpose-built boat, deep V bottoms that were only built to throw a wave and not even pretend to slalom ski behind them. So we built that boat, and that boat became pretty much the gold standard. And we had a very obstinate industry that didn't really want to acknowledge that these goofy kids with tattoos and earrings and surfers were legitimate sector of our industry, but it exploded and kept growing to the point where they finally relented. During our growth phase, we drove the World Wakesurfing Championship, which we owned from a few months after that first thing in the wave on Lake Yosemite. The prize money grew to over $100,000, and we had one event that was the largest towed water sport event in history at Konocti Harbor. They had 50,000 spectators that were there to see that event, plus other things that were going on attendant to the event. But it's been a complete phenomenon. The first 5 years we enjoyed the space pretty much alone, because the rest of the industry poo-pooed everything we did because we're goofy, and we pursued the technology, and our passion for innovation just thrived. It was a target-rich environment, whether it was the plates or the cat's fin or all of the ballast systems that were put into the boats. It was just a really fun, passionate time to be in the boat business. You know, all I knew in the very beginning was that every ingredient that this sport presented was different and new and inclusive, and all these adjectives that we use to describe the sport. I was fascinated by that enough to divert all of our energy into that sector. It wasn't, I don't think I had a vision of where it was going to go. I just loved the idea of going along with the wave of growth that it spawned, and enjoyed being focused on the technology that was helping drive that wave of interest. And at each turn of events, it was like an epiphany would happen, and it was like, whoa, that's amazing. And we jumped into it, and then we developed the Enzo, and we go, wow, look at that. If we lean the boat over and we change the ballast tanks, we can create even more of a wave. And then we just, each time, we were more driven than driving.
So once we had the foundation that was now wake surfing, and now Centurion was ever connected to this great new water sports discipline, then we got to a point we developed a following, a community, really a family. And that came about not just from the building of the boat, not just from the performance that it generated and the tricks it allowed athletes to do behind it, or the community it created within the boat. It came from competitions, believe it or not. We had to put into place a competitive series for all of these new wake surf enthusiasts that were trying new tricks and to better themselves, and taking the challenge of water sports and putting it into a competitive series. And this developed into the World Wake Surfing Championship, and it started with the World Series of Wake Surfing. This collection of events really at first just got enthusiasts together to compete behind the boat, behind the world's best wave, and for a lot of them, the only wake surf wave any of them had ever been on. And they developed this way to push each other in a very non-adversarial way. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever been to a competitive water sports event, be it slalom skiing or wakeboarding, there's a level of animosity between some of the athletes. Typically, it's an individual sport. You go after that win on your own because of you. But a dynamic that came about during the World Series of Wake Surfing, and ultimately culminating in the World Wake Surfing Championship, is this camaraderie and this thing that they had in common. It wasn't just that they were competing, they were doing something that no one else was doing, behind a boat that no one else had developed besides Centurion, to do something that was normally reserved for the ocean and being at the beach and not accessible to everybody based on their proximity. But somehow these individuals were now doing this together, and you could feel that they were in it together, so much so that they would push each other, not by trying to one-up one another, but by congratulating that next guy or girl when they hit that trick. And that's one thing that I don't think Rick Lee and the rest of the guys at Centurion that developed that first wave, that first wake surf boat, could have ever imagined would happen. That from this innovative water sports boat came a whole community, a whole lifestyle, a whole way of being that people gravitated towards and wanted to do. And what ended up happening is this, what at one time was a small group, turned into a much larger group, and then they used the boat so much, they were able to give us, as a factory, inspiration to what that boat should be next. The great thing about Centurion Boats now is that community keeps growing larger and larger, and now it involves our employees. It involves our dealers. It involves our vendor partners that create signature systems for our boats, like Roswell or PCM. And they all want to be a part of this thing that is the evolution of a surf boat brand. And they are. We have developed collectively as a team these amazing boats, and they continuously improve because we know enough to know that we don't know it all.
We've been around 25 years innovating and building towers, accessories, and audio for the marine industry. And when I think back on the first time I seen Centurion come on the scene, just reminded me of this really edgy West Coast brand that was really focused on the surf scene. When I think about Roswell's partnership with Centurion, it's more than just the product. The people there are committed to growing the sport, growing the industry, taking wake surf and wake surf community to the next level. And that's what we're all about here at Roswell. And very proud of the people and all the work that's gone into the products. And we'll continue to innovate with Centurion far into the future.
Wakesurfing has been working with Centurion over 10 years. We've been working with them on the OEM systems at the factory level, helping design and specify Wet Sounds audios to provide the ultimate audio experience. Originally, it was the ultimate audio experience as you wakeboard. Now it's a combination of wakeboarding and wake surfing. So it's really cool watching the market transition to really wake surf specific boats. So we've developed our products and changed the way we've designed and developed our products specific for the wake surfer needs. Wet Sounds and Centurion share a lot of similarities. We want to push the envelope in style, design, and performance. So the two brands work perfectly together because that's what we're both about. Both about out there pushing the envelope. What can we do to have the best style, the best sound, and the best performance of our products?
The leadership team at Centurion never ceases to amaze us. The culture that they develop, what they bring to the table and the buy-in from all of their team members. And you can really see that pour into the product that they're building. So whether it's just at the factory in Merced or all the way out into the events that they do, you can see that new culture, that new evolution just immersed throughout. There's a lot of tie-ins between our partnership with Centurion and a lot of things that align. One of which is the pride and craftsmanship. That's one of the things that I talk about a lot and get to enjoy seeing a lot at PCM, all the places that our people are just so passionate about what we're doing, the product we're building, and supporting our customers to the utmost. I get to see all that. I get to recognize all the same things when I walk through the plant in Merced at Centurion and see the passion that those people have for putting that product together, building that product, supplying that same high level of product to their customers.
We work in an environment that is, it's got such varying climates. It's got moments of tension. It's got moments where, they talk about that analogy of like blood, sweat, and tears. And I feel like we've all probably experienced that on the production line and even in the office settings, But the reality is we are one huge family. We talk about this one team, one goal mentality. And I think that's the thing that continues to drive our team. We understand that we have each other's backs. We understand on the production line that it's not one department that solely builds a boat. It's an entire team. And that team isn't just the production line. That team is the marketing team. It's the engineering team. It's the people in the office on the administrative side. We fully have each other's backs. We fully understand that, there's going to be times where, you're going to have maybe an issue with your brother or sister on the line. But the reality is we also know that they have our back at the end of the day and that we want to build the best product that we can because we have a great dealer network. We have a great customer network, and we want to provide them with the best quality that we can.
Here at Centurion, we're all a family. So, we're all about making lives better and it's just our culture changed a lot here since 1998 to now. I mean, it's like somewhat credible. I mean, the employees love working here. I see like the expression on everybody's faces, and I do my walk arounds and stuff like that, and everybody else is just amazing. I mean, since Craft came and made everything special. I mean, the employees they love working here. So I mean, it's just like I said, we're like a family here. So it's an amazing place.
Looking back, the biggest move and the biggest growth has been creating executive teams, leader teams, and empowering those certain areas and categories of the company, which allows collaboration, input, depth on learning and growing team members. When you have a small team, it's really challenging to get product done or marketing done or production done. But when you grow together as an equal team, those facets come together really good, and that's been a huge push on the growth of Centurion Boats.
Ideas are welcome. If it's a good idea, we process it. If at the end of the day it's going to save time and it looks better, it's always welcome from anyone. It could be from somebody off the street, a customer that came in and say, you know what, this might look better if you do it this way. And I process it and say, you're right. It might look better. If it's my coworker, whether he's cleaning the bathrooms and he comes with an idea, ideas are welcome.
I think that Centurion, because we are family oriented, I feel like we have touched a lot of the different areas that families want in a boat. And I feel like our R&D department and our marketing department, everybody's very open for those suggestions, not only from our dealer network, but from families and things that they hear while they're out on events and different things. And I think that's a big part of listening to what people's needs are, even from all different ages and not just specific. We don't target one group of people. It's like I think we open it up to a lot of different. And just being a boat owner, I've noticed a lot of those changes. It's fun to kind of see the development. And even the last 7 years I've been here.
The culture and the team building, and that people care about what they do and who they are with. That's what I find that has been. You can build all the things you want to build, and you can have all the cool new little toys, but unless everybody is on that same boat, it's not going to go anywhere. And that's what I see is the team building, the team cooperation, the wanting to make each other better, not be individually better, but to be better as a group. I think that people looked at us as being different, and they always knew that Rick Lee was a leader in the industry, and so they looked to us to see, well, where are they going, what are they doing, and we had to lead by example and always be on that edge of, okay, do we step back or do we just leap forward and hope that we cross that bridge? And I think that the community saw that and saw that our innovation, that our ideal was to bring people together and to make the best possible experience from the product that we were building.
Over the years, Centurion has been an incredible partner to work with when it comes to wake surfing. In fact, we've been able to hold the World Wake Surfing Championships here in Utah 3 different times now and support that event. It's been fantastic because we have thousands of people there spectating, people have been able to come and enjoy the incredible scenery and the mountains and the beautiful colors that are here in the fall time. And probably my favorite part about these different events is the opportunity we have to get hundreds of people that have never surfed behind a Centurion boat out on these new Centurion boats and experience the kind of surf performance that they provide. There's nothing like seeing people surf behind these boats for the very first time and seeing their minds melt when they go through and see what kind of a surf wave that these boats can produce.
With events like the World Series of Wake Surfing and Wake Surf Worlds, Centurion has really gone a long way to start growing the sport and take the talent and level of athletes to a whole new level. The progression has been incredible.
I started riding for Centurion Boats in 2010, and that happened after I won my first world title at the World Championships, which was hosted by Centurion. And it was just far and away the best wave I had ever seen, had ever ridden. And I won the contest, and that kind of put me in a good spot. So started talking with the people at Centurion, and worked out a deal to where they sponsored me, and that's where it all started. So it's just been really cool to be part of a team that gives their riders so much input into everything, really, but especially the design of the boats. Centurion's always welcomed feedback as far as, you know, how could the wave be better, how could the boat be better, anything that could be better, they're all ears. So from the beginning, it's been all about wake surfing for them, and they've just continued to push the envelope. They've always been the best wake surf boat. Well, they've always had the best wave. The boat hasn't always been the nicest. Like, the whole time, the boats have just gotten nicer and nicer every year, to the point where now I think Centurion is one of the leading quality boats in the market, and you could put it up there next to any other boat brand, and it's gonna really shine in any light under any comparison. So it's been sick to watch the quality of the boats come such a long way, but the thing that's most important to me is the wave, and they've had the best wave the entire time.
I don't see an end to the growth of the sport. I think we've just kind of scratched the surface of where this can go, because it's so accessible. It's so inclusive that I don't see it slowing down. I don't see a horizon for the sport of wake surfing. There's too much momentum and too much interest, and it does too many good things. It makes life better for so many people. I don't see that ending.
We know that Centurion is the evolution of a surf boat brand. We are the example. We know where we've been. We know where we are. Where are we going? Well, the future's really limitless. Why? Not because we have some secret sauce or we know something everybody else doesn't know. It's because of the groups that we deal with that are a part of our family. This is who makes Centurion who we are. And we're not too good to say that we always need improvement. And we're not too good to hear feedback from our employees when they come up with a new idea of how to design better for manufacturing. We also have vendor partners who offer signature systems and work in tandem with our designers to make sure that not only the system itself is innovated, but it's applied to the boats perfectly. Roswell's new Predator Power Tower is a great example of this. An idea that spawned from a collective effort between Shane Stillman and Roswell's designers. And they came together at a point where it was a tower like no one had ever seen that applied to our boat perfectly. The Wet Sounds Warrior 2.0 sound system that is specifically made to mount on the new Predator Power Tower. Not only is the sound phenomenal, the way in which it was implemented onto the tower works with not only the tower design, but the function. What about PCM and the engines that power our boats? They have wonderful low-end power. They get you up out of the water quickly, but they work well with our hull design. In fact, they don't need to work that hard at all. And that's part of the great piece of PCM, is that it is peaceful in the boat. You can speak at inside voice levels and hear one another because the engine is not working too hard. These vendor partners of ours work with us to make us better because they know that we're all getting better. Our dealer partners, like Boardco and Century Marine, these dealers are some of our longest standing dealers, and they are constantly improving and pushing us to improve as well. I'm not saying that we don't drive the market. Obviously, our foundation tells you a different story, that we created a market where there wasn't one. However, we're not going to sit back and say, wow, we were sure great way back then. We're not going to continue to improve without honest feedback that we apply. And those improvements can come from anywhere and everywhere. That's what it comes down to with Centurion. We are in this together. And I would venture to guess that our dealers, our vendors, our employees, our athletic team, our family of owners, they want to be a part of this because they know they can affect change and improvement. We're not too good to hear where we can improve. And that is the evolution of a surf boat brand. We are going to continue this level of improvement, and you're going to see amazing things from Centurion Boats for years to come.
Building the boats, making lives better. I mean, when the boats come out of the molds and we're working on the line, I'm walking around, asking questions. They're asking questions, and I give them the feedback. They give me feedback, and they love our boats.
You can't make somebody do it if they don't have it in their blood, because they will do it with repetition, but they won't think for themselves to do the next step.
The brand right now, a lot of people look at not just our boats, but boats in general, like that we build, and they think that it's just the uber wealthy that buy these boats, right? And it's just supporting their fun. It's not. Our boats are so much more than that. We truly build a product that makes lives better, and we're able to partner with a lot of outside organizations that do more work for the community that is so cool on a greater scale than just, like I said, the rich and famous.
One of my positions here, and I don't even consider that a job because it's something I just do and love to do, is try to raise the culture of our community, our employees, our athletes, our vendors, and even down to our dealerships.
The innovation and the innovation companies that we're partnered with Correct Craft is going to help us, guide us through some of the future, development that's out there and the different things that are going to be really popular. I think we're trying to figure out and be ahead of the market versus behind. And I do think that they probably have a lot of really cool things coming up.